when the kids age out of high school, we lose them.
How do you lead worship? How do you invite people into the song that you know God has written in your life, and He's written it for them too?
I want to see discipleship happen. I want to see these kids really grab a hold of what the gospel means in their lives.
These kids were now just, learning and giving places for art, but now we're actually empowering them to then lead with it. So it's given us a perfect pathway, a pipeline to allow that to just be ignited to what God has already started in them.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, first of all, and for letting us be a part of the experience. It's been such a cool morning.
Yeah, it's our joy.
Yeah. I wanted to know specifically what brought you guys into worship, and then specifically worship at Hillside Community.
Well, I've been participating on a worship team since around age 12. My parents planted a church, and kind of just everyone jumps in. So it's been, almost a lifetime of me just recognizing that that's kind of the place God has me serving in, and really just growing in my faith journey as well through participating in that. And I don't know, just
How long have you been at Hillside? Taken over here?
I've been at Hillside just over 2 years officially. I started as an intern the summer of 2017 and just fell in love with this community to the point where I migrated from the East Coast and decided to plant roots here and be a part of what God's doing in this community, and it's just been an absolute joy.
For us as well. I'm a lot like Maya. My parents were music ministers, so I grew up always watching choir practice, and even started kind of singing on the team when I hit junior high. And but I used to always tell my parents, because of watching how they did, I'm like, I never want to work in a church. I never want to work in a church. And it was actually my time at APU and the chapel bands there that I actually felt God leading me to, no, worship leadership is actually exactly the path I want to put you in. And so I started here when I was a senior at APU. So 13 and a half years ago, and been here ever since. And it's been such an honor and joy to watch generations come up and out of this place with passions for music and art, and watching them actually make a difference in the communities God places them. There's no greater joy than watching that take off and knowing that God let something get planted here that can grow exponentially beyond this place. Yeah. So cool. And he's the legend, so he's been here longer than we have.
Just by the year. Yeah, mine has more years, so I'll try and. Similar story. My mom and dad led worship at a little bitty church that my grandfather pastored, and so I grew up from. First thing I can remember is my mom playing the organ and my dad leading, playing guitar. So it's just kind of a natural progression. And I loved music at an early age. Discovered the Beatles. Everything exploded with that. And then in various Christian bands and stuff in my 20s. I was in the music major at APU, 70 to 74, and then an extra year of a graduate. And then, then I kind of did a recording career for a bunch of years and making music for the churches. And then I came here to Hillside 15 years ago. And I think it's kind of neat that I used to make music for the churches. Now I'm on the other side reaping the benefit of the new guys that are making music for the church. So, and then in regards to the fourth, fifth, I was just thinking, walking over here, it's just how thrilled I am that each of us represent at young ages getting inspired and kind of having it taught to us and figuring it out and implementing it and seeing how important it is. And to hear the stories of what's going on upstairs in 4 or 5, it's just thrilling. I don't know a better word to describe it, that the kids up there are getting it. you know, and we're making the pipeline for those new worshipers even younger.
Mhm.
Why not?
Why not?
It's all yeah, it's just awesome. Love it.
And speaking of that, how would you say specifically the grant has helped integrate more of the intergenerational worship within your community, but then also just with youth and empowering them and making them see more than just children who are receiving? What are ways that you've seen your community grow, but then also be able to change and help those leaders?
I mean, one thing I'd say on that is over 10 years ago, we started an Arts Academy program teaching kids basics of music lessons and theater and even painting and drawing. And to now watch what the grants helped us do is these kids were now just, learning and giving places for art. But now we're actually empowering them to then lead with it. Not just learn it, exactly, but lead with it and come as worship leaders and to take that skill, that God-given skill, and to now use it to, inspire their peers that are listening and in the same room. So it's given us a perfect pathway, a pipeline to allow that to just be ignited to what God has already started in them.
And then just having Ashley in leadership. So she's for a number of years been involved on our student teams as a student, and then graduating from high school, and now she's helping lead, or had been helping lead in those spaces as well. But having her focus on developing an even younger portion of our congregation, and just seeing her come alive in the things that Smitty is teaching us as a music director, the tools that he gives us to implement, and seeing her make decisions and figure out how she wants to schedule the team and all those kinds of things, and then pour out so that the students around her feel like they have some agency as well, and know that they are just as important as anyone else on the team, as any adult who maybe serves in that space. That's just been cool to see what we're learning from Smitty. She's applying in that space, and it's all just trickling down.
I think too the grant really helped kickstart us, or light the fuse, or whatever analogy you want. It gave us a good launch pad to let's get going. And it literally fueled some technology that we needed, and it just really put a nice drive behind the whole thrust of it.
So then, looking forward, where do you see that as it progresses, as you guys continue this incredible academy? Where do you see that developing and moving in the future?
I think just more. I think it's watching more students again get to hone in on those skills. So it's providing resources and places and leaders that can pour into this generation. I think we're even watching that now, of some of the kids that started are actually now in high school and getting ready to transition out to college and to other places. And so how do I, almost like an Ashley, how do we watch what the model she's almost set for us, if she's grown up in the program and now she's leading it. So now watching that continue to happen, of then these generations coming behind, how are they, not just learning the skill, but how do you lead worship? How do you invite people into the song that God has written in your life, and he's written it for them too. And so I think getting to just watch more of that unfold, so that even to my kids, I have a first grader in the room right now, and so even watching him this morning, it was just cool to know, like, he's going to be a benefactor of that. He's going to get to watch these leaders in that room and in that space, and what could that do for his trajectory?
I think the momentum is huge.
Huge.
And I think it hopefully pays off in the stickiness too. That's kind of a hot paradigm term, but I think it could really help that whole sticky thing when the kids age out of high school, we lose them a lot of times. But I'm hoping that we start earlier, get those roots deep sooner.
Like it was for us.
Yeah. So we'll get more of the stay factor.
And I really hope that just kind of building off of what Arts Academy was and seeing how this is geared more toward, or more intentionally toward developing worship leaders. I want to see discipleship happen. I want to see these kids really grab a hold of what the gospel means in their life, and really grab a hold of not just, art and music as an outlet, but connecting with God on a personal level, and letting worship be a lifestyle, not just something that they express musically. So just seeing that become, I feel like that's kind of how our worship culture as a church has grown in the time that I've been here. And that's been really neat to see that just come alive, even more. But like to Smitty's point, that that starting at an even earlier age, I think just makes the experience that much more genuine and authentic. Yeah, so I'm excited for that to just continue spreading like wildfire.